Oh, let me love in a holy, holy way. Let me love in a holy, holy way. Oh, let me love in a holy, holy way. Let me love in a holy, holy way. Oh, let me know that love is all around me. Let me know that love is all around me. Oh, let me know that love is all around me. Let me know that love is all around me. Oh, let me love in a holy, holy way. Oh, let me love in a holy, holy way. Hey, come on in to Soul Fulfilling, everybody. My name is Rickie Byars. It's called Rickie Byars of Sunset. Yes, that's what it is. Let me live in a holy, holy way. Let me live in a holy, holy way. Oh, let me learn from all the ways I fall. Let me learn from all the ways I fall. Oh, let me know that love will heal us all. Let me know that love will heal us all. Oh, let me walk each day a little wiser. Let me walk each day a little wiser. Oh, let me love in a holy, holy way. Oh, let me love in a holy, holy way. Hola. Oh, let me love in a holy, holy way. Oh, let me love in a holy, holy way. Oh, let me love in a holy, holy way. Let me love in a holy, holy way. Hey. Hey, come on into the room. It moves in a point of light, in a song of love, in a simple way. It reaches like a guiding hand in a heart that truly understands. It reaches like a salve of compassion, like a comforter in a simple way. The God in me ain't complicated. It moves in a simple way. Come on into the room. Margaret Tahar. Oh yeah, Joanne is in the room. Hey, Chef Lori. John Caesar. Mardell Essence. I like your name. Essence Evolve. I love you. It moves in a simple way. God moves in a simple way. Love moves in a simple way. It moves in a simple way. In a simple way. So we just take a breath and give thanks for tonight's time together. I said in the write-up that, let us see it together. Come, let us see it together. See how we may be better together, how we may be more effective agents of change. In these changing times, it's good to know how to flow, to be real and flow. And so tonight with me is my dear friend and esteemed colleague and just a beautiful being, certainly beautiful through and through. That's Life Coach Ade Anipawoche. Hey, Ade, I know you miss me messing up your name, my brother.
Yes, I do.
Welcome, welcome back to the show that you inspired me to do. That you encouraged me to do. Yes.
Absolutely. It was already there. I was a doula. I just helped you birth it.
And you yes.
Mm.
So we have everybody coming in, and everybody just keep on coming into the room.
Come
We're
on.
our
Mm.
conversation tonight is about being real in times of change. I mean, everything is changing. It's changing radically. It's changing. Um, uh, feels like so much of it is changing fast. I mean, just look at what happened in Lahaina. It took no time for the town to burn down. So for much of the town to burn down. Here's a shout out and a warm embrace for Terry Lynn, who lives in Lahaina, and she's part of our Behood community. And she was just giving me some of the particulars about what they're living through over there. So many people without homes right now, but they do have food, and things are going to get better. So we just keep praying and supporting and doing our best right where we are to uh, to honor the earth in the ways that we can and to honor each other. So how you doing, my brother?
Ooh, I am full. I am feeling something right now, and I'm like, ooh, he's moving in a simple way, but he's got me ready. I already feel just like okay, and
Mhm.
grateful to be here. As I said to Sue when we were communicating when she invited me, I was like, I've been feeling the vibe. I've actually, I do listen to B radio, but the last few days I've just been listening to it, and so when she got the call, I was like, when I got the call, I was like, yeah, absolutely, because
Yes,
I could tell it was happening. It was in the
yes,
field, and I connected. And it's good to be back here. And
yes.
thank you, everyone that's welcomed me back. I didn't go nowhere, but I'm here. And I went somewhere, but I'm back. But I was really right now. I was here. I was here where you were.
John Caesar said, "You his brother from another mother. Love
That's
you like
right.
no other." Everything that's coming out, everything that comes out of his mouth is a lyric.
Yeah, right. I was just going to say, there's a hook there. Take it, write it down.
He's got hooks. He got 1,000 and now 1,010 of them. So welcome into the B Hood. Mickey Maxwell is saying hi, Ade. We all love
Mm,
you, and
yes.
we want to talk about and Sharon Fuller has said condolences on the loss of your dad on his
Mm,
transition, and
yeah.
we love you. And we have been listening to your journey with your father and your family's journey with your dad. Some of you who haven't been, a lot of people on this thread have been in for the conversations of soul fulfilling
Absolutely.
for a long time, and
Yeah.
and so they know part
Mm,
some of your journey. But
yeah.
how are you feeling with the changing of the guard? You know,
I love that. Yes. It's interesting because I talk about wave of grief. I don't even know if I call it grief, sadness, joy. I'm feeling something. It's like, ooh, I feel it. I'm in it. It's like I jumped into that swimming pool. It's like, ooh, I feel it. Um, but it's funny what you just said because I can't remember. Somebody wrote something that said, yeah, I'm feeling it. Somebody said, I feel like I know your dad because I've listened to your story, your stories that you shared. And I was like, wow, I talked about my dad that much.
mhm,
And then I was like, yeah, you did. And it is at the time when I was telling the stories,
yes,
I literally was just telling the stories. This is what happened. This is what I did. I'm in London today, being with my dad. He got on my
mhm.
nerves. I got on his
Right.
nerves. We had a great conversation. But now when I look back, I treasure those stories
Mhm,
in a way that I can't express in words. I remember I don't know if it was the first time, but it feels like the first time as I feel into it right now. When I was talking about how he loved me massaging him, and you were like,
mhm,
"Whoa, you don't hear that a lot." And I was like, "Really?" Yeah. I said, "I guess
mhm.
not." And I appreciate that. When I start um, massaging him, and he relaxes, and in about 5 minutes is out, he's gone. 5 minutes later, he's gone, just sleeping. And then I do both his legs, his arms, and we'll just make sure do what I do.
Yes.
30 minutes later, I walk away and he kind of wake up and it's like, Ade, you didn't do this side. I'm like, Dad, I did your whole body. It's like, listen to him trying to
He's
trying to get
messing with
extra.
you.
Yes. Because
and he got it too.
yes, all he knows is just I started on one leg and that's it. It was out. Sometimes he would telling me, I'm not gonna go to sleep this time. I'm not gonna go to sleep. I'm like, okay, Dad, whatever. And in my head, I just release it. But the story was being written by me for me, and I didn't know it. So it is the fact that he's not here in a physical body. Sometimes it feels weird. Sometimes I feel like it's a prank, and he's just gonna knock on it and say, "Ha! Surprise! I'm back." But in his absence, I have learned more about him, about how he's love embodied. He is, and he was, and he is love embodied.
Yeah, and
And
that's going to increase. That will
absolutely.
increase. Yeah.
And I don't know if I told you the story where when I talk, well, the way I frame it is he healed me by holding my my left hand. I think I told the story. I don't know. Maybe you were here, but I'll tell a story. It's a long story, but I keep it short. So
Yeah, keep it
was
short.
And then she asked for more, right? I miss you, Rickie. So, as you know, I'm part of a documentary called White Nanny, Black Child. And it's a story of Nigerian kids who were privately fostered by white nannies and the experience that we went through and the challenges that we were going through and growing through around belonging, identity, being in a community where we're either only the black child in that area and trying to fit in. Anyway, my younger sister, she saw the rough cut and she came home and couldn't stop talking about it. And she was so moved by it. And she was doing more talking. And I wasn't sure when I was going to start the conversation with Dad. When I came downstairs, I was in London and my sisters. I came downstairs and the question he asked me, I knew he was defensive because what he was hearing, he just felt defensive. I think he felt like the documentary was judging parents who gave their children up or gave their children to another mother or a nanny for fostering. And when I came downstairs, he was like, oh yeah, Kilashi, oh yeah. I was like, oh, which is basically, come on, tell us what we did. Tell us what we did. And I'm like, oh, that's what we're doing? Okay. So I took a deep breath because I'm like, ooh, he's triggering me right now, but I don't know why he's doing all of that. So I said, when we grow up, but no. Just tell us what we did. I'm like, Dad, I'm trying to tell you. And then I started again. He would interrupt. I'm like, Dad, if you're not going to let me talk, we can't have this conversation. And then he chilled. We had the conversation and I felt like we got somewhere. The next day, just the way life would have it, was on a Sunday. Something else happened, and he misunderstood what I said. I was like, I don't know what I can do to please this man. My younger sister decided to mediate for us. And I was like, maybe, because she was telling me, you got to be patient with him. I said, I am. Every time I come from Leicester to London, I'm sometimes anxious. Like, oh, what disagreement are we going to get into now? I said, I don't know what else to do. She said, let's go talk. We started talking. The conversation about my childhood came up again. And he was still being defensive. And I was like, Dad, this is not about me judging you. This is about what I experienced. This is my experience. Even if I lived with you, there still would have been something. And he was kind of listening, but more pushback. And I just decided, I said, you know what, flip this. I didn't say this out loud. And I didn't say flip either. I said, I'm not doing this. But what I said started with an F. And I was just like, I'm out because he's not listening. And my sister kept talking, kept asking questions. And after a while, we got to a point where my sister needed to go into the kitchen. I think she was cooking something. I ran to the restroom, came back, dried my hands. But when I go back, there was still a little bit of water in my hand. And he grabbed my hand. And my dad doesn't like cold water. It affects him. Cold water, cold food, cold temperature. So he's like, oof, that's too cold. So when I came down and grabbed my hand, I said, Dad, hold on, my hand's away. I said, don't worry about that. I was like, oh, okay. And Whew. And he grabbed my hand after that back and forth that I've just said, I surrender. Because at the same time, when I said, I'm not doing this anymore, I'm just really mad, I kept saying, Spirit, tell me what I need to do. Just show me, just guide me. Because I can't say anything. This man ain't listening. So when he grabbed my hand and he said, anything that I've done to hurt you, please forgive me.
Mm-hmm.
This is a 89-year-old man,
Mm-hmm.
a man, a Nigerian man.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I wasn't thinking all of that at that time because those words, they went beyond anything I could have asked for. And you went straight to my soul.
Yes.
I was weeping.
Yeah.
I was weeping. And I could
Mm-hmm.
hear a voice in my own head
Mm-hmm.
saying, this is all I've ever wanted.
Mm-hmm.
This is all I've ever wanted. And
Mm-hmm.
to me, it was like my inner child was saying, I just wanted to be heard. I
Mm-hmm.
just wanted to be seen. I
Mm-hmm.
just want you to hear, because that's something I felt my father didn't really.
Mm-hmm.
I felt like he wasn't hearing me. He always has to debate me.
But there's something
And
there's something there's something very powerful
yeah,
about the two of you, because you know you're the younger version of your father, though you can't see it right now,
absolutely.
you know, but you know he dialed in enough to have you in there, to be in
Yes,
there in you, you know. But
yes.
when he says it, you know, just you know, you know, please forgive me. Like, I didn't mean to hurt you. And I think
Yes.
that in our lives, so many times, many of us, you know, are waiting to hear that from our families. I don't really think you know, there's a part in my intellect that thinks like, you know, I really don't need to hear that. Like, I love everybody and everybody. I'm good. I'm good.
Mhm.
But when somebody says, when somebody says, a brother or sister or someone that you really love, somebody's deep in there, you know, they're deep in there. They
Yes.
could be a friend,
Yes.
you know, and it hurts even more what they did when they are that close to you. But you know, so many times, you know, especially the independents, like the people on this thread, and there are a lot of us are the indies. You like, we keep going, we the Tonka trucks, we like, you
Yes.
know, that's, you know, that stung, but I'm gonna be all right.
Right.
You know, you know,
I'm
you
one
know,
with God.
I'm
I'm
one with
good.
God. I'm gonna get through this. This ain't nothing, you know, you know.
Ricky, so I want to interrupt you. You're getting disappearing in the
Yeah, but
ray of
it's
light that's coming in.
yeah, it's that's just what it is right now with the electrical in my house. But
Oh, okay.
I'm kind of digging it because it gives me the sense of a Jedi in
The
the
mystical
mystical
one.
sense, you know. But it was like when but then a brother, one of my brothers, not just one, my brother, another sister, another brother, when they would talk to me about the times when I was not with them, how they woke up and it was like, and you were gone. And
Mm,
oh wow, we missed you so much. But the
mm,
way they talked, like I never heard that, you know. It was like
yes.
I was the survivalist little kid, you know,
Mm-hmm,
and just, you know, it was like the happy kid.
mm-hmm,
So I could
mm-hmm,
just keep going, you know. But when I heard them say, and my brother, I have one brother that wrote a story about it, and I was like,
mm,
wow. And you know, it just made me,
yes.
you know, it brought some tears. It's like, wow, you know, it's like it's kind of like it's a silent place. You just take a breath and go like, wow,
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
I haven't
mm-hmm.
I haven't felt this before.
Yes.
Like something in
Yes.
my heart
Oh,
has
God.
opened.
Mm,
You know, something in my heart has been touched. Like
mm,
I feel something in me, you know, it's just like, wow, I count. Like you cared about me, you know. And
yes.
it might sound egotistical, but it's
Mm-hmm.
human, you know. It's just the human moments. Y'all know what I'm talking
Absolutely.
about,
Absolutely.
you know.
Absolutely.
You know, and we got people on the thread that who absolutely get this part. That's why it's important. Like if there's something, if there's a disagreement between, and I don't, a disagreement, if there's a fission, if a fissure, if there's a fissure, if there's a break, you know, and somebody needs to say like, "How you doing?"
Yes.
You know,
Yes.
"How you doing?" Now
Mm-hmm.
the other person might not give you the time of day, you know, but it's like, if I did something to hurt you, please forgive me.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You know, just, please forgive me. It was, you know, that forgiveness piece is huge with parents and children.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
It's
Man, it's deep. So
yes.
and now, when they're not here anymore,
Mm-hmm.
when they're not here and you go like, ooh, but
Yeah.
you know what? You did wonderfully well with your father. You cared about your dad. You showed up for him. Some of us didn't even have fathers that lived that long or that we could be that close to, but just watching you and your dad, you should put that picture up again, Susan, with brother Ali Me. This
Yeah.
is
Yes.
Papa Ali Me, Baba,
Yes.
Baba Ali Me. And
Yes.
then Nipa Woshe, this is, oh, wow, that's so beautiful. Now, is
Mm.
this picture younger or older? Which one is this?
No, recent. They're all recent. This is this year.
Wow,
I
his.
think. Oh, actually, the whole. Yeah, the first one and second one is this year. This is
Yeah.
us at a Nigerian restaurant in UK.
Yeah, yeah. I was looking at Coming to America the other night, and when Sue sent me these pictures, I thought about you. I was like, y'all know what? Y'all know that it's Prince Ade. He don't tell us the truth. Y'all know he's from royalty.
I am. That's what Ade means. Ademala means wealth, wealthy king, wealthy crown. That's
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
And you know that statement. Yeah, this picture of him, this touches me because it exemplifies who Dad is, and
Hmm.
he knows how to be silly. There's some videos that we have of him that it's just watching those videos. It's just like that's Dad. He's very childlike.
Yeah,
He's curious. He speaks
yeah.
like five languages. He taught himself how to speak German. He speaks. I mean, he's so smart and intelligent. And sometimes I'm like, "Why are you coming for me, man? We're in a different league. I'm looking up to you." But sometimes I think you're coming for me as if like, oh, well, you think you know everything. I'm like, nah, I think that's you. But anyway,
So you guys are too tight. Y'all are like me and my mom. But have you found now? This has been about 3 weeks since your dad passed.
yeah, well, yeah, this, yes, just yeah, Sunday was 3 weeks. Yeah, this past
Yes.
Sunday. Hmm.
Yeah. So
It's still
you're still
new.
in the aftermath. It's still, yeah.
And you know, one of the things I'm grateful for, and I say this to all the parents, uncles, aunties, as you were talking about forgiveness,
Mm-hmm.
allow yourself to listen, particularly parents in this case, allow yourself to listen differently for what needs to be said through you for your
Mm.
children.
Ooh,
It ain't
yes.
even about you. As Rickie
Mm-hmm.
was saying earlier, there is a way that a loved one could communicate love that feels like there is no defense. When that love came from him, there was no
Mm-hmm.
defense, there was no ego. I didn't have to
Mm-hmm.
say, no, it's okay. It
Mm-hmm.
went straight to the part of my being that needed
Mm-hmm.
that healing.
Yeah.
And because of that, I feel peaceful. I have no regrets. I feel
Mm-hmm.
complete. I am telling you, I know this as sure as I'm black. Had
Mm-hmm.
we never had that experience,
Mm-hmm.
I think I'd be a mess.
Mm-hmm.
Because the part of me, that child, that inner child that wanted daddy and
Yeah.
didn't get daddy the way he wanted his daddy, would
Yeah.
be just like, now who do I have?
Yeah.
Parents,
Mm-hmm.
take a moment when the opportunity arrives. Sometimes it might come to you when you think, oh, this ain't the time to be showing my love.
Mm-hmm.
It's when you feel like this ain't the time to show your
Yeah.
love, it's the perfect
It's the
time.
perfect
Sometimes
time.
it's just to shut up
Mm-hmm.
and just listen and
Yeah.
listen.
Yeah. I know it. I'm going to take a moment just to be still here. I am listening to the music of the Holy Spirit. Oh, what a song God is singing. I will listen all day long. I will listen all day long. Oh yeah, hey, yeah. Oh yeah, hey, yeah. Oh yeah, hey, yeah. Hallelujah. Oh yeah, hey, yeah. Oh yeah, hey, yeah. Oh yeah, hey, yeah. Hallelujah. Praise my Father. Hallelujah. What if we listen to each other like we're listening for the voice of God? What if we allowed our hearts to just to listen, to receive what our family, our loved ones are trying to say? Sometimes we don't all have the skill of communication like some folks do. Some people have so many words. But I'm telling you, if you have a heart that can allow space, just a little distance from your words to theirs, there's a silence in the stillness of the Holy Spirit. Oh, what a light God is shining. Let us see it everywhere. Let us be it everywhere. Oh yeah, hey, yeah. Hallelujah. Ade, thank you for bringing us into your life and sharing your father with us, even though he and you were thousands of miles away from us. I kind of felt included. I felt like I had a seat, you know, that I was part of it, that we were all part of your life, because we are part of each other's lives, whether we know it or
Absolutely.
not. We are totally
Mm,
interconnected,
mm,
and when you loved your father, when your father took your hand and just took your hand and held it. I mean, what it takes love to do that. It takes courage to do that. So
yes.
many people are fearful to show love, to
Yeah.
show, sometimes we think we be clumsy at it. We don't have the words. I'm gonna bumble. She might not receive it. He might not receive it. He might talk about me. He might break my heart some more.
Yes.
He might break my heart some more, you know.
Yes.
But when you anchor in the Christ, when
Hmm.
you anchor in God, when you
Hmm.
anchor in the highest, when you
Hmm.
anchor in the love, it's like you will eventually anchor in joy. And so
Yes.
that person, there's nothing that they really have for you that God hasn't already given you. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? So you go
Yes,
into
I do.
you go into it differently. Yet
Mm.
when they do give it, it feels so good.
Oh my God! Yes, yes.
Oh my God.
You got me running in around in my own head. I feel like, oh, Ricky, preach. I mean, because it's true. It's
Yeah.
true. And one of the things I've learned is I say it like this: there is no transformation or healing without softness. and
Mm-hmm.
and I say it like that. If don't allow ourselves to be soft, even when the healing happens,
Yeah.
we just might not know it. In the
Yeah.
softness to say,
Yes.
okay, I give up the fight, and in that place is vulnerable. You may feel tender. You may feel like that's the place where healing's like, oh, coming through. There's some flexibility here. Oh, just grabbing stuff that we don't need and
Yeah.
chucking it away because
Yeah.
we're soft enough. We're not hard. We're not hard. It's like, yeah, I heard them say to forgive them, but I mean, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know if I'm ready for that love. Well, okay, maybe you're not, and that's okay.
Well,
But the
you
minute
but
soft,
that softness is
hmm
such a powerful word.
hmm
Thank you for that. Because like in my song where I said there's a silence in the stillness, I'm going to say there's a softness in the
mm
stillness. You know,
mm
there's a
yes,
softness in the
hmm
stillness, you know, of the Holy Spirit. It makes us soft inside. It makes us pliable. It makes us
hmm
listen. I mean, when it does something, it opens us. We become
yeah,
vulnerable to the good of God, to the
yes,
good of the love of each other. Man,
yes.
my mom told me, my mother, when I was, when, along our journey, my mom used to make our clothes. My sisters and I, everybody knows, some of you might not know, but my sisters and I had a singing group, and we were wanting to be discovered like the Supremes. But anyway, uh, we lit up Charlotte, North Carolina. We
And
lit
you
up the
came up with the
school.
love supreme. That's right. So you're ready, the supreme.
No, Supreme inspiration. But
Well, oh yes, that's right.
yeah, 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 yeah. Love Supreme would be John Coltrane, my brother. But anyway, uh, but what I wanted to say was that when um when we would perform, my mom would make sure we looked good. She'd make our clothes. We'd have matching clothes and all kinds of stuff, or she'll go buy a little outfit for us so we don't have it, and she'd be so proud of us. But I don't really remember my mother ever telling me, you know, Ricky, you a pretty girl.
Mm,
You know, I don't remember anybody in my family ever saying anything about you being a pretty girl, right? Carl Anderson told me this in church one day. He was sitting there with his wife Veronica, and he was like, "Ricky, you're a pretty girl." Yeah, he was like, "You don't know it, but you're really pretty."
mm,
So he said, "You don't really know it," and I looked at him because I look in the mirror and try to do the best I could, but I never saw myself as as a pretty person, whatever that means. Because we should all see ourselves as a handsome guy, as a pretty woman.
mm,
We should all feel good about the beautiful face of God that we
mm.
have, with beyond what the world has said we must look like in order to be pretty. You know what I'm saying? You
Absolutely,
know. But
absolutely.
my mother told me these words, and she was like about 93 by this time,
Mm,
and I was like, I gotta go, because I had slept in the room and was there with her and making sure she had all her needs and stuff, and I said, well, I gotta go see if I can just make my face look a little bit better. And she said, girl, you wake up pretty.
mm, mm,
She said, girl,
mm,
you wake up pretty.
mm.
And I said, what you say?
I know, right? Like what?
She said, I don't think I studied. you know I said, you wake up pretty. And
Mm,
just like when your
mm,
dad took your hand,
mhm.
it's like when she said that, it was like, I was like, wow.
Yes.
Because I realized that I never saw my mother really as a pretty woman either.
Mm,
You know what I'm
mm.
saying? And it was Georgia that brings that to me. She was like, "Oh, Grandma was fine. Grandma was so pretty. You didn't think Grandma was pretty?" I was like, well, I knew she looked like she looked. She was
Mm,
beautiful as a soul. She had a beautiful soul. She was a beautiful spirit. She's like, no, Grandma was fine. But
mm,
you see, we didn't grow up with that. My mother was never
right,
about that. She was like, hey,
right.
it was more about being a good person,
Mm-hmm,
being substantial inside.
mm-hmm,
Pretty is as pretty does, that kind of thing. But there were other people whose family was telling them, whoa, you really looking good. You, oh,
mm-hmm,
shucks now.
mm-hmm,
It's like we
mm-hmm.
encourage each other by opening up and saying, yes, you
Mm.
exist and I love you.
Yes,
You
yes.
exist and I love you.
Mm,
you
mm-hmm,
know. And I know she did care about me. I know that. But that
mm-hmm,
day when she said, you wake up, I was like, wow,
mm-hmm.
what that did for my little vain Libra heart, I was that was
It's like, say that again, let me record
pretty much. That's pretty much, you know me too well.
it. And
Yeah.
the thing about this softness that I'm discovering is if
Mama Byers
my
made you some panties. All right.
oh, okay. Speaking of being soft and vulnerable and open, you can stop now, Maxine. We know she loved you. I loved you. So this softness, one of the things that I got very clear about is if my spiritual practice is not softening me, I need to sit back down and try again. Because even this is actually a good example of that. Because after that healing experience I had with him, it was on a Sunday. I came back on Monday, back home from London, and he was checking on me as he always does. And even talking to him, I felt free. I didn't feel any sense of anxiety, like, ooh, am I going to say something wrong? And I
Mhm.
was like, this is good. And I had to get on in the Uber. I said, Dad, I'll call you back later. And I felt like I didn't want to end the conversation with him. Normally, I'm
Yeah.
like, okay, we can end. On
Yeah.
Tuesday, of course, I've been thinking about the whole thing Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. And I felt like I wanted to say something about what happened, but a
Mhm.
part of me was like, it's almost like people, this is going to be like a left field kind of thing. But if you're at work and there's somebody that you like and you end up going for a drink and at the end of the night you end up kissing them and it's like, oh, we shouldn't have done that. And then you don't talk about it, it
Yes.
gets weird because you didn't talk about it. But if you get a chance to talk about it, it's like, okay, you can then decide, do we want to do this, or that was
Mhm.
good, but we don't have to do it.
Mhm.
So I had that kind of feeling, like, not that I kissed my dad, so everybody calm down. But that feeling of vulnerable is, if I bring it up again, would he join in or just say, oh, don't worry about it, let's not talk about that?
Mhm.
But I knew I needed to talk about it outside of that moment to embody it.
Mhm.
And when I told him, I said, Dad, I can't tell you how much my soul needed what happened on Sunday and what you said. That's pretty much repeated what I've told you. Like, I heard a voice say, "This is all I've ever wanted." I said, when you said it, that's why I was just in tears. I was weeping.
Mhm.
And my dad said, "You think it was just you sleep? You think it was just you crying?"
Mhm.
Which was his way of saying I was crying too. Nah, I didn't see it. I didn't
Oh, I
notice it.
love your dad. I love
And
his
it was
heart.
like, and in that moment I also felt that he felt whatever he needed to feel, but like we were having the same experience. In him
Mhm.
giving the love, he was receiving the love by
Mhm.
giving it to me. And
Mhm.
he was like, yeah, you think you're the only one crying? I was like, oh, I didn't even know that.
Yeah.
I don't even think I said that. Just like, oh, that was his way of saying, yes, I was in there with you. And that made it even more real.
Yeah.
Because when you somewhere, a healing or something happens that's transformative, if it's
Mhm.
not spoken about or written down or shared with somebody else, we don't get to hold it.
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
forget.
Yeah.
If we don't share our wins, we forget. But
Yeah.
when we
Yeah.
share it and talk about it, it becomes a part of us.
Well,
It
in the
was, yeah.
old days, you didn't talk. It's like
Hmm.
there some families did, but a lot of folks didn't have the experience of fathers who spoke about things like that, or who had a
Hmm.
dad around. You
Hmm.
know, or, it's just men didn't share their hearts that way. But
Hmm. Right.
today is different. Like, it's a new day. It's a new day. There's a softening that's happening across the board in the hearts of people, and no matter what it looks like in the news, it's like there is this people want to love. They want to experience, men want to experience something sweeter inside of themselves.
That's it.
You know,
Absolutely.
women want to experience something sweeter inside of ourselves.
Absolutely.
It's like, hey, who, man, the other day I fixed some fruit salad. And like Georgia cooks all the time. Like she's always thinking of us, always. But it was early, and I knew that she had been up in the studio and everything. I knew she was asleep. She wasn't even awake. And I knew my grandson wouldn't want any of it, and he was asleep, so, but it was me. It was my time. So I'm fixing me a fruit salad. I'm, fi- I'm fixing fruit salad for me, I've got my little raspberries, my blackberries, my strawberries and blueberries and all the good things, the good berries, and just having a good time, a little yogurt how I was going to do. And then something said, why don't send Georgia a notice and invite her down to eat breakfast with you. If she's asleep, she won't answer, and then you can have it all. You can have it all. But it was like I was like, okay.
Mm-hmm.
And I just sent her a note and said, I have a delicious fruit salad that I would love to share with you. And she hit me back, oh wow, it's just what I needed. And she comes barreling down the steps. And she always makes it good what I give. It's just like, oh, this is so good. It's like the way she encourages and loves is 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 because Georgia loves Jesus, right? She's a Jesus child. She loves Yeshua. She loves the New Testament. She loves the Bible. She loves holy books, but the Bible is her favorite. And she exemplifies this love in such an extraordinary capacity that I'm drawn to it. You see,
Yes.
that I'm reading where I didn't read before. I was
Yes.
the one that would clip you and go like, why you gotta always bring the Bible in? Why you got and it's now it's like most of the time I'm not talking, I'm talking and I'm not mentioning. But what caught a fire was the loving that I see her doing, the
Yes.
sharing, the
Yes.
caring, the
Yes.
service.
Mm-hmm.
It's like the way she loves, and so it's like it's really beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
When your child brings it to you. So when you brought it to your dad, it was like, ah, he loves you.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God, he loves all of his kids. He loves you all.
Mm-hmm.
And dialed in pretty deep, I'd say.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. People who knew him and they say, "I can't believe Papa is gone." And we would talk on the phone about politics, about different things, about us coming back to Nigeria. This were people living in America or UK, and everybody, most people talked about how long they were on the phone with him, and Dad loves to share and ask questions and want to understand. I mean, this is my brother's friends.
Mm-hmm.
He would talk to them like he's talking to an equal, somebody who is his age, and he wants to know. He wants to know. He's always curious. Sometimes he would say, I remember there's so many things that he said, but it's like, he was looking at me and said, I don't know why, but I could be watching a show or program or maybe the commercial, and I start tearing up. I don't know why that happens. And there's this genuine curiosity about him wanting to know. And I say, Dad, because you're sensitive, you're a love being. And it was like, hmm. Like when I say something, it's almost like, yeah, not whatever, but there was something about that. And sometimes I have to feel like maybe I could just let that space be without even adding to it. Because I was addressing the question, but I think it was a moment that is beyond both of us, that he was just sharing that. Sometimes I am so moved. I don't, because he doesn't like, I've never seen my dad cry.
Can you
I've
share your
never seen.
dad's spiritual practice? Did you ever see your dad pray?
My dad was Muslim, and there's something about us Nigerians. I'm Yoruba, and there's something about the way we pray. When my father prays, oh my God. I always ask him to, not always, but often ask him to pray. And my mom was Christian, and mom was always praying in the morning. She always had a Bible. She doesn't talk to us until she finishes praying. At that time, when I was younger, Dad doing his wasn't doing the 5 day prayer. He started doing it through the later time of his year. But during the Ramadan, we prayed, we fasted, and that's how we experienced him and his religion. But in the last, I don't know, 10 years or so, he took it more serious, maybe even before that. But for me, being around him when I was shipped back over here after my government retreat that I didn't want to come back, what Spirit was doing was bring me back to heal, even in my resistance, to
Mm-hmm.
be with my Father. So
Mm-hmm.
when he does his prayer, does the Muslim prayer, and then he will pray for us, myself and my siblings, and his prayer always touches me. I just get so emotional because the words that he's speaking, oh my God, he had a deep relationship with God. There's no
Yeah.
doubt about it.
Yeah.
And he was always curious. And
Mm-hmm.
so he would say, I understand your sisters, because my sister's a Christian. I understand your sisters, but you and your brother, and I don't know, you guys are not Christian, you're not Muslim, but you say you believe in God.
Yeah, so
I'm still
y'all these
trying to
new thought
understand.
these new thought
Yes.
children.
Yes, he used to call me the free thinker. It was like, what does a free thinker think about this? And there's something that we were talking about. So I responded. And then after, I mean, genuinely just telling what I thought. And he said, there we go, the free thinker. I was hurt. I was like, you asked me to tell you what I thought. When I did, you going to throw the shade at me? I didn't give him all of that, but I was like, Dad, you asked me what I thought. And inside, I felt punched. Like, you keep doing this. That was before the healing. But
Mm-hmm.
he's always curious, and he wanted to know more, and he is always learning. But I
Yes.
think his Muslim religion stopped him from going further, because what he was reading, what he knows about the Quran, is like, I don't want to offend God. I don't want to offend God. And I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
no, leave it alone. Don't even
Yeah.
go down there. Just let him have his experience.
Yes.
It's like, and then when he tries to ask me again, he'll start the conversation. I'm like, Dad,
Mm-hmm.
one day I said to him, Dad, we can't really have this conversation because we have a different understanding idea of who and what God is.
Have you
Is
have
it?
you have you felt since you're in these past 3 weeks? Have you felt uh, a quietude, like a stillness around you since he left? Have you felt
Oh,
like is there more stillness?
the last week, even though it's like, why am I not feeling like I wanted to do something? I just sat and
Mm-hmm.
just turn music off, didn't want sound. And sometimes when I wake up in the morning, I can't just get up. I just feel like it's like my body saying, no, wait here for a minute. Wait here for a
Mm-hmm.
minute. And
Mm-hmm.
I reflect, just not just about him, but just my
Mm-hmm.
own life, and get new understanding of things that I have shared before. Recognizing that, yes, I've done several sessions, workshops, gatherings around grief, but I'm being introduced to grief in a new way. And one day I was, after just in that moment and being in a meditation state, I decided to journal. And I wrote a lot of what came through me, really for me, was a download. And I wrote several things about it. And at the end, what came through was grief is love turned inside out. And my body, my heart just went, because you can't grieve someone or something if you didn't love it, if there wasn't a connection. The
Yeah.
fact that you're grieving is telling you how much the love, how deep the love. So grief is not something bad, it's heavy, but it's a reminder that love is present even in that moment. So when I'm
Mm-hmm.
feeling that, I know that I'm feeling Dad's presence. And my mind might say, he's not here, and it feels like pain and sadness, but
Mm-hmm.
he's there. They go hand in hand. Grief and
Mm-hmm.
love are right there.
Mm-hmm.
So yes.
Mm-hmm.
To answer the question, yes.
Yeah. 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 Well, we certainly love you and love what you're sharing. The people in the thread are on fire with what it is that you're saying tonight. And they're saying such beautiful things. Healing and softness is like tilling the ground. Once the tilling is done, it's soft and new growth begins. Growth
Mhm.
and healing.
Oof.
It's Kimberly Lovelace.
Ooh,
You know,
Kimberly,
yeah,
say that
yeah,
louder for the people at the back. Oh
yeah.
gosh,
You
yes.
know, but that
Yes.
softness, that caring, that space. You know,
Hmm.
you know. Somebody was Oh yeah, I won't mention her name, but I shared space with a beautiful being today, and she's just delightful. And but there's a whole lot that's up for her in her mind, and it's churning, 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 churning. And I was just looking because I remember those days, you know, and I could just observe. But I have I think I got this language called a hack. I found a universal hack,
Oh.
a universal solution,
Mm,
to a lot of that angst.
mm,
It is love. It is love. It is like, what you're talking about are the facts that you are gathering from that situation. But there's something way more elegant that's happening right now,
mhm,
and it's
mhm,
called love.
mhm.
It's called loving.
Yes.
It's called
Yes.
loving yourself, and trusting what to be, when God is showing you something, obviously, it's like, hey, but you're holding on to an old way because it's
Mhm.
familiar. You're just holding on
Yes.
to the whole way because it's familiar. It's what you know, but the spirit is saying, I am more than this. The spirit is like the spirit is like, I am more than this. And I just looked
Yes.
at her. I was like, man, I am in such a good place in my life because I've been in recovery from being a part of a spiritual church, a church, and a relationship that was done relating, So it's like,
Hmm.
but there is a period of, I want to call it adjusting, but it's more than adjusting. It's more than adapting. It's like, it's recovering. And Quinn does a lot of work with people in recovery. It's like recovery means like you're healing, like you didn't even know you were hurting,
Mhm,
but there are things that are going on in there,
mhm,
that you're dealing with, the letting go of a community, the letting go of the different things that were so dear in your heart. And you
mhm,
knew it was time. You knew you had to do it. So
mhm,
I'm having this conversation with this person, and I could hold her in love, because I think that's what prayer is.
mhm,
You know,
mhm.
I could hold her in the love of God, and she didn't have to change anything. It was like it was her stick. It was her
Mhm,
thing. But I was just listening. I wasn't even trying to be no practitioner or nothing. I wasn't trying to get no advice. I didn't give any. I just
mhm,
laughed. It was just so funny to me. I would just go like, "You wow." You know,
mhm,
you
mhm.
feel like that? You
Yes.
feel like that. It's like there. Well, I was like, well, you'll work it out. I was like, yeah, well, you'll work it out. But
Mhm,
believe me, the closer you walk with God, the sooner you'll feel the solution, the
mhm,
answer. Is all those other scenarios that have nothing to do with God. It's got everything to do with your thought about what
mhm,
this is supposed to look like, what you're
mhm.
supposed to be making, what you're supposed to be doing, what she's supposed to be doing, what he's supposed to be doing. It's like, but where's God?
And all of that.
And God is like right there
Yes.
in that
Mhm.
softness.
In the darkness and in the light.
Yeah. Yeah. You
Yes.
know,
See me
you
if you
know.
can, everywhere
Uh-oh,
I am.
I feel a song coming on. I feel a song coming on. Give me a little bit of time. I am in the darkness. I am in the light. Oh, see me if you can. Everywhere I am dwelling in the sunshine, dwelling in the shadow, dwelling in believers, and in folks who don't know. I am all appearing. I am all invisible. Oh, I am in the highest. I am in the very low. Glory God appearing. Oh. Glory God invisible. Oh, glory in the highest. Glory, glory God below. I am in the darkness. I am in the light. See me if you can. Everywhere I am. Baba Alimi. Brother Ade and your family, and all on the thread who may be releasing loved ones. You will meet again. Glory God appearing. Glory God invisible. Oh, you are in the highest. You are in the very low. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Wow. God is inside me, inside you. God is everywhere. I see, and now I am free to be better of the best of who I am, to be the better of the best of who I am. Mm-hmm. Hey, may we find the ways to be better together, more loving. That'll do it. Hey, Sue, come in and say hello to everybody before we close out. Sue, how you doing, Sue?
I'm doing great. Thank you.
I think you had a birthday on Sunday.
I did, and it was delightful.
Happy
People were
birthday.
dancing and singing, and yeah, it was great.
Eating, drinking smoothies in your honor.
Smoothies. Ooh, they were good. Those smoothies were good.
Well, you
And
know one of
somehow, go ahead.
no, go ahead.
Well, and somehow I left my bag of gifts in your house, so I get to celebrate again on Sunday when I come over.
Yeah, you do. Yeah. By the way, the B Hood would be in the tiny church at the Big Blue Sanctuary.
Mhm,
We call
mhm.
it Tiny Church in the Big Blue Sanctuary. We will be here, and we won't be doing the mall anymore. I decided not to do that.
Mm.
It's too big a place, and folks weren't really showing up, and uh, not like I would have to be there every Sunday for them to know, uh, to treat you like they treat you in a church. I don't have time for it. So it's like it's like we don't have time for it, and it's expensive, and so we will be at the Big Blue Sanctuary, having a
Mhm.
good time, and allow the ministers who have churches to do that. We will continue to celebrate together, and but Sue, I got to tell you, there was a moment, because what Sue asked for, she wanted to hear "Let My Soul Surrender" at the end of the devotional. I was
I
like,
wasn't even thinking when it came out of my mouth. I went, "Oh,
I say, okay, Sue, what
this
is,
is a great
everybody
one."
was giving requests. I say, Sue, what do you want to hear?
Mm,
And
mm.
Sue says, "Let my soul surrender." And I was like, because it was a great request, because Ricky Rouse was right there.
Mm.
Because Ricky is there, and I've shared it before that Ricky has, is it called long term memory loss,
Short term, short term.
short term.
I
So he
think it's
can't.
short term. Yeah.
Well, he doesn't remember, and he remembers what he remembers. He remembers how to play that guitar,
Oh
but he
wait.
might not remember that he played "Let My Soul Surrender" with you about 15 minutes after he's done it,
Right.
and,
Right.
and blown the place away. But he feels good that you feel good about it. So he's
Yeah.
not carrying any remorse about the condition, which is a brilliant situation, that
Mm-hmm.
he is not crying over spilt milk. He's like, hey, I'm still at the party if I'm playing my guitar. And I love, he said,
Mm.
I'm still guitar Ricky Rouse. But there
Mm.
was a
Really.
moment in "Let My Soul Surrender" where the camera goes on you,
Oh,
Sue. And you are Sue at 16 years old at the festival, baby. Sue is, her hands are up in the air like this, and she is taking that music in. It was just such a
mm, mm,
beautiful,
mm.
soft, open, receptive,
Mm.
uh, beautiful, and willing to feel what you feel.
Oh,
Like you felt. We could feel your joy. I could feel your joy watching it. It was so beautiful. You know, it was
it's
so beautiful.
amazing. I mean, just the room, even in that room. I mean, it's marble floor and it's kind of hard, but
Yes.
all the love in there, whew,
Yeah.
it got soft. It was soft and squishy and
Yeah.
good,
Yeah. Oh
you
yeah.
know.
It gets soft in the mall. It's not like
Mm,
it
no, no.
feels. It doesn't. It's like it's very very. It's very local in there. It's just
Mm-hmm,
expensive to do it. So we're going to do it in the
mm-hmm.
house and have a good
Yeah.
time praising God. And I just invite everybody to, just get involved
Mm-hmm.
with who you are and be the best at it.
Right.
Absolutely.
This has
Get
been
involved.
wonderful. So wonderful for all of this. And a day, I hope you come back soon.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Now, I'm
And
like the neighbor who lives at the back of the house, and Ricky's giving me
oh,
the key. So every now and
uh-huh.
then I just come in for a cup of coffee or
Oh,
tea. I don't drink
oh.
coffee.
So
So
if you
that's what
hear
we're doing now.
something, if you hear something rattling downstairs, you'll know, you'll know
If you
it's a day.
hear any noise, and we're if it's happening to me, if it's happening to Ade, if it's happening to Susan, it's happening to the people on this thread. Hi, Jackie Holland, Reverend Jackie's on. It's like there is something that's inviting us all to be softer inside, to be softer with ourselves, to be
Mhm,
lovable, more loving with ourselves, to be more caring with the people who we encounter also.
Yes.
mhm,
And I just want to say
mhm.
thank you for just listening to that voice of God within you, and taking the time to listen and to love,
Yes,
and
yes.
to flow in the spirit. Thank you for
Mhm.
joining us tonight. It's been fresher than real. Thank you, Life Coach Ade. I love you. I met you at Hillside, and I'll be
Yes.
there next Thursday night.
I
Yeah,
know.
and I'll think of you.
Mm.
I'll be in
Thank
San
you,
Jose
Ricky.
the following, the very in 2 days after that. I'll be in San Jose with Rob McDonald in concert at the San Jose Center for Spiritual Living. So if you're in the area, hey, check it out. And those of you on the thread who have churches and want me to come to your church or do a concert, you need to call a sister. We can work it out. We can work it out. And this is the time to get on the books. In the meantime, in between time, remember from last week, the words of the Buddha. In the end, there are three things that would really matter. One, how much you loved. Two, how gently you lived, how gently you lived. And three, how gracefully you were able to let go of what was not meant for you. How much you loved, how gently you lived, and how gracefully you let go of what was not meant for you. Be of good cheer. God is good.
Yes.
Ashe. Thank you.
Share. Thank you very much. Peace and blessings, everyone.
Let our joy be so triumphant that we rest in God and say amen. Rest in God.